The story has been shifting. Was Soleimani targeting the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad? Was he targeting 4 American embassies in the region? What happened to those plans? Plus, now 176 people have died in what some have called collateral damage from the Soleimani killing. So, was the president's decision the right one? Joining me now, Reuel Marc Gerecht, a former Middle Eastern specialist at the CIA, now senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, and Trita Parsi, the executive vice president at the Quincy Institute for Responsible Statecraft, and the author of Losing an Enemy, Obama, Iran, and the Triumph of Diplomacy. Reuel, let me ask you, I think you have come out publicly in the past actually in favor of specifically killing Qassem Soleimani. Do you think this was done strategically and in the right way? Because I know that in general, presumably you actually approve of the killing?
Yeah, I think it was the correct thing to do. We should have done it years ago. I mean, that man is responsible for the deaths of lots of Americans. General Petraeus thinks that figure is up around 600. I suspect it's low. I think if you kill Americans, your life is forfeit. The United States may choose the time and place to exact that, but that man has spread sectarian bloodshed throughout the Middle East. He's tried to radicalize Shiite communities. He's supported Sunni jihadists. He's been quite ecumenical in his tastes, was quite ecumenical in his taste to spread mayhem and to hurt the United States. So it's high time we stop turning our cheek and take him out.
Trita Parsi, what's your reaction?
Well, I think the American public clearly do not believe that this has made them safe. The latest polls show that only 25% believe that this has made them more safe, 52% believe that it has not, and 55 or 56% disapprove of how Trump has handled this. I think their instincts are right, because their instincts are that this will not only make America less safe, it will also entangle America more in the Middle East at a moment when the American public wants to have the troops come home. They don't see a strategic reason or utility to continue these endless wars. And what Trump has done here is actually going to make it much more difficult for the United States to be able to leave the region. Instead, it's going to get more entangled in these endless wars, already 2 going on, and now he's risking to start a 3rd one. So based on that, I think it's really difficult to see that this is serving U.S. national interest at this moment, and it has not made America more safe.
Reuel, let me ask you to respond to Trita Parsi's recent essay, or I can't recall exactly where it was a very interesting point. He said, is it time for us to acknowledge that the United States' involvement in the Middle East has caused more instability, tension, and war than solving regional tensions, instability, and war? If you look at it on the face of it, American involvement in the Middle East, Gulf War I, Gulf War II, the various interventions, it does seem like it certainly has not quietened things down, let me put it that way.
Well, I mean, I think the primary force driving the sectarian bloodshed in the region has been the Islamic Republic. It hasn't been the United States. I suppose you could have fond memories of Saddam Hussein and the hundreds of thousands of people that he slaughtered, but I don't. I think the United States, if you can fault the United States for anything, it doesn't always want to stay the course. And I don't think we're going to run from the Middle East. I think we should have learned that after 9/11. And I think it's high time we realize that the primary driver of instability is Iran. I mean, I think it is amusing and important to note that.
Let me ask you, Mark, just 1 second. Is it Iran, or has it been Sunni jihadists? I mean, 9/11 was not perpetrated by Iran, but by Saudi Arabian and Egyptian Sunni fundamentalists who are actually enemies of Iran.
Well, I mean, Qassem Soleimani in particular was operationally responsible for creating Shiite militias in the model of Lebanese Hezbollah. They have somewhere upwards of 50,000 of these folks now spread out through the Middle East. He encouraged sectarianism, radicalization of Shiite communities. They also supported Sunni jihadists. My God, I mean, the Revolutionary Guard Corps was sending weaponry to Sunni jihadists in Iraq. They were sending weaponry to Sunni jihadists in Afghanistan. The Taliban was receiving weaponry. The notion that it is Sunni jihadists who's responsible for this is false.
I'm sorry, we have a little bit of time, and I just want to give Trita the last word.
Well, look, it's not about whether Iran also is a destabilizing actor or the idea that only one actor could be destabilizing. Unfortunately, you have several destabilizing actors in the region. The question we have to ask ourselves, has the over-militarized American dominance of the Middle East made America safer and made the Middle East more stable? The answer to that question, I think, is quite clear. It has not worked, and we should be pursuing other paths instead of just doubling down on something that has been devastating to the Middle East, regardless of what the Iranians are doing, and they're doing a lot of bad things as well, and also made America less safe. If we're actually going to be pursuing U.S. national interests, we should not organize it around the principle that the most important thing for the United States is revenge against Iran. That is not a policy or an orientation that will make America better off.
This is a very important debate, and we will return to it, and I'm sorry we're out of time, but thank you both very much.